morning and welcome back once again to the Weathersfield Trail here in Weathersfield, Vermont, part of the Ascutney Trails Association. The Weathersfield Trail was established in 1906 and has undergone a couple of major changes since that time, although in 1989 the lower part of the trail was purchased by the state of Vermont for the sole purpose of protecting the hiking trail here, and the upper portion is owned by the West Windsor Town Forest and managed by them. So I'm happy to say that it turned out to be a fabulous day for hiking. It rained yesterday, we've got early spring conditions, lots of water around, and that's what our focus will be today, looking at some of the waterfalls and water features on the Weathersfield Trail. So let's get started. Do a little hike today. So typically I don't advocate walking on these trails under early spring conditions like this, but I do know where and where not to walk. I will not be walking through here, but around here where it's more dry, and pick up the trail up ahead where it's solid footing. So as you can see, the Weathersfield Trail begins by making its way through mixed hardwoods here, and eventually will end up in more of a conifer type forest. You'll find that most of the rocks on Mount Ascutney, and there are a lot of them, are of two types. Typically the lower part of the mountain here is comprised of the metamorphic type rocks, and this being a volcano at one time in history, many believed, the upper flanks of the mountain are composed of igneous type rock. Come on. Good boy. Since we're not here to talk about rocks today, but water, let's continue. Most of the smaller brooks, like the one you're seeing here and the one that I showed you previously, are dried up in the summertime. They're only seasonal. The larger brooks, like the brook that flows over the top of Cascade Falls, is a mere trickle by the time the end of June or July comes. So let's continue. One of the things I'm always a little cautious of is the fact that Bentley's going to get too close to this waterfall and slide over the edge. In the wintertime, it's a sheet of ice up here, and there's nothing but a solid chunk of ice on these falls here. And as you can see here on April 4th, it's a different story. Bentley still likes to get close to the edge. Right, buddy? Okay, let's go up a little further so we can get a better look. Come on. The time to really admire the water on these trails is about now. So as I mentioned, there are two major brooks on this trail. This being one of them, being Little Cascade Falls. We'll pick this brook up again up in the what we call the gorge. And then the brook that we crossed earlier is the brook that flows over the top of Big Cascade Falls, which is probably about 3/4 of a mile up the trail here. So, beautiful day once again on the Weathersfield Trail here. It's April 4th. You're going to catch the water features. You've got to come early. So, let's continue up the trail to the canyon. So once again, put another rock on the pile here. As you can see, lots of rocks have been added over the years. I don't know how many there are here. I like to call this my Zen rock. To put a rock on the pile as I'm heading up, I'm protected. See you there. So as you can see, there's still some snow and ice on the trail. You have to be a little cautious, walk around it. And particularly in some of these shady spots. I'm sure we'll see more up in the gorge. So behind me here, you're looking up the gorge. The water's really gushing. I haven't seen it like this since the end of December when we had a mild spell. Absolutely. So let's continue up into the gorge a little bit, although it's a little bit icy and we may have to go up above to get a better view. For most people, this is what they come up Mount Ascutney to see. Unfortunately, when they come up, it's all dried up. This is really the only time of year, except after the heavy spring rains, that you can actually see it like this. Certainly no. Easy. Certainly has no fear of walking too close to the edge, unlike me. If I can take my camera and raise it up a little bit, I can get a little better view here. Or maybe you can get a better view. So once again, if you want to see water, you got to come up here at the right time. After you cross through the gorge here, you'll find some steps leading up to a little viewing area. Bentley's making his way down. And a very nice lookout toward Springfield from here. So let's head on up. Now, some of you trail enthusiasts watching this may think that, hey, he's not being very respectful of early spring trail conditions. Absolutely not. I've taken great care to step on rocks, to walk around those wet areas on the trail that may present erosion problems. So, just to ease your mind, let's continue. Going to Cascade Falls. And as I mentioned earlier, there's this nice little viewing platform above the gorge, and you can see south to Springfield. I don't think you can quite see Monadnock from here, but you can see parts of Springfield. This can be enjoyed any time of the year, with or without water. Once again, one of those little brooks that's very seasonal, and you won't find this around in about another month or so. So let's continue. The trail in this area is somewhat deceiving as you make your way downhill, which seems to be a contradiction based on where you are, but in fact it's just following the contour of the mountain, and we'll continue to walk uphill at a certain point, at that point where we actually cross Cascade Falls. So as you can see, here we have some natural erosion. One thing we probably want to happen as compared to man-made erosion. So one of the places you'll pass by on your way to Cascade Falls is this, what I call a bubble of magma. So it looks like the only way I'm going to get up here is around this way. A little steep, might be a little slippery, although Bentley doesn't seem to mind it too much. So let's head around this side and we'll take a look from the top. So here we are at the top of that outcropping that we were looking at earlier, and as you can see, we get an even better view here of Springfield and of what we call Little Ascutney. A little windier now. We're exposed. We're going to continue down to Cascade Falls. So these areas on Mount Ascutney are pretty typical boulder fields, perfect dens for porcupines and or bobcats for that matter. They're here, they're over on the what we call the East Peak as well, probably more prominently. So let's continue. Another one of those little brooks on Mount Ascutney that helps to shed all the water and helps to shape the mountain over thousands and millions of years. And so we've come across this old skid road or logging road, and it heads down toward Cascade Falls, where we're going to head right now. Okay, from where we came, a mixture of hardwoods, to where we are going, mostly conifers. In all likelihood, on Mount Ascutney it would be the old standby hemlock, and there's a hemlock forest right in front of us. We're going to head into that, and that'll bring us hopefully back onto the trail. I can hear the brook off into the distance, just faintly, so we're probably 200 or 300 yards away from the brook that flows over the top of Cascade Falls, which we will catch on the way down. So here's that transition zone. It's almost as if somebody drew a line and said on this side of the line is going to be a deciduous forest, And on this side of the line is going to be a conifer forest. So we're making our way into the conifers now. Once again, we've picked up the Weathersfield Trail here above Cascade Falls, and I think you can hear the brook if you listen carefully enough. And we're going to continue up the trail here for a little while, and we'll catch Cascade on our way back. Come on, Bentley, let's go. Come on. Come on, buddy. Good boy. Come on. Well, in case you haven't noticed, it hasn't gotten any less icy up here. And I think what I'm going to do is probably abandon my effort to go any further up the trail, only because I didn't wear crampons. And I really don't want to slip and break my neck. Instead, I think we'll continue on our original quest, and that is to make our way to Cascade Falls. I think we'll make our way down to the brook here. You can hear that in the background. And we'll work our way down the brook to Cascade. So let's continue. So it's really quite interesting how much less snow there is over on the other side than on this side here. As you can see, a marked difference. And this is the brook, the other major brook on this trail that feeds Big Cascade Falls, which we've been talking about for the last half hour, so we're heading down there eventually. No, careful there. It's easier without a camera in my hand. It takes hundreds of streams like this one here and like this one here to make that brook. It doesn't happen on its own. You really begin to understand what a watershed is when you come out in the springtime like this. Just what it says. The mountain's shedding all kinds of water. Got to get rid of it. And this is the way it does it. Little April snow. We're at about 2,000 feet right now. So that makes sense. We've got, I don't know what the temperature is. If my recollections are correct, there is a little road here that follows the stream I had forgotten about. So we'll continue along that, and that actually leads us right down to the head of the falls.
Next to Cascade Falls here, right here, and I'm going to chain him up so that he doesn't get too close. Let's go around this way. So we're here at Cascade Falls. Took us a while to get here, but it's worth it, as you can see. April 4th, 2009. Significant rain yesterday helped to make this what it is today. Probably one of the highlights of the year on Mount Ascutney here. Let's continue to the bottom of the falls. And so you can see we hit this just on the right day. Perfect conditions. Lots of rain yesterday, early spring conditions, April 4th, 2009, and it's like being in the right place at the right time. So, we're going to head back down now, Cascade Falls on the Weathersfield Trail behind me on Mount Ascutney. Come for a visit.